Hi, my name is Roy Canterbury. I'm going to be your host today on Archery Talk 101. And what we're going to talk about today is sighting in your bow. Some different methods for doing it, as well as advantages and disadvantages of the different processes. So let's get started with the traditional way that most people will sight in their bow. They're going to take a single spot or a 5-spot target, put it down range at 20 yards, and they're going to keep shooting at that same spot and see where your arrows group, which is, it's a good method. Uh, it might take a while to see where your arrows are going because you're going to have to shoot a group of 3 to 5 arrows in order to see where they're grouping so you can move your groups. Because shooting one arrow doesn't necessarily tell you where you need to adjust because your sights are off. So you need to get a group going. So you're going to do some shooting. It's going to take you a while to get it sighted in. Once you get your 20-yard pin set, then you go on and work on the different distances. One of the things that you're not going to know by doing it that way is, have you canted the bow? Are you turning it slightly to the right or the left? Which way you're holding the bow. It's not going to tell you that by shooting your 20-yard pin. Now, one thing you can do is once you get in your 20-yard pin set, now your cage is set left and right. You got your 20-yard pin. Now go to your 30-yard pin and shoot at that same spot. Now, that grip should be straight up and down from there because at the closer range, you're going to be shooting up. So that grip should be straight above the other one. If that group is not grouping straight above it, it's grouping like off to the side. Now that means that either your sight, the pins, so the older sights, you could adjust each pin individually. The newer ones, you can't. So now that's either going to look at, are you holding the bow where it's plumb? So you put a level on your sight, is it level? Or is it just the sight itself is off just a little bit? You don't know. You have to figure that out later. So now what you can do is take your 40-yard pin and shoot at that same spot, and now see what that one does. You can do these with just a couple arrows. Take and shoot an arrow at your spot. Go to on your 20-yard pin. Go to your 30-yard pin. Shoot at the same spot. Take your 40-yard pin, 50-yard pin. Each one shoot one arrow, and they should be in a straight line up and down. If they're not, that's a good sign that you're holding your bow not completely plumb, where it's straight up and down. You may have a little bit of cant in your bow. Right-handers will go one way, left-handers will go the other direction, just because the natural way to hold it. So that's one thing that you can do to see how your arrows are doing. And then when you look at that, you're going to see that if you turn that bow, as you get higher and higher for the distances, it's going to, right hand's generally going to start moving off to the right. So if your line goes pointing off to the right as it's going up, that's a good sign that you're not holding your bow level. Now, to fix that, one thing, put a level on it and see what you're doing and make sure you get your grip in their position right. If you have a good grip, there could be other things. You could be moving your shoulder a little bit different or something else, and that can affect that. So you want to get that perfected. Now, one of the other methods you can do, which is a good practice method to get into, is take a piece of paper and draw a 1-inch wide line on the paper. So you can do this with a marker, or take, 2 pieces of electrical tape, stick them side by side. That gives you a 1-inch wide target. And you'll need 2 of these basically. One, you're going to start off with, you're going to put it where it's horizontal. If you can't eyeball it good, put a level on it, make sure it's horizontal. Now you're going to take a 20-yard pin and you're going to shoot at that line. Any place on that line works just fine. So it doesn't matter where you're at. Now what you're doing is you're looking at that line, and your mind is going to allow that pin to float left and right all you want, because you don't care where it goes as long as you keep it on that black line. So you're going to shoot at that black line, which is a 1-inch wide line. Now then, once you get that, you're going to see where that's at. You can adjust. So now this is going to be up and down. If it's shooting a little bit high, this is another method you can do for adjusting them and setting your pin. Adjust it so now you're hitting on that line every time. It's going to be pretty easy to go that way. Now that's going to get your elevation set for that pin. So Then you're going to go into a vertical line. Now you're going to want this to be plumb, so it's going to put a level on it and make sure it's straight up and down. Because if it's off to the side, it's going to change things. Now you're going to think you're shooting off the side, but not. Now take a look at that vertical line, and as long as your pin is on that vertical line, that's where it's supposed to be. You don't care. It could be shooting the top, the bottom, the middle. It could be all over the line. All you're doing is hitting that 1-inch line, any place on there. Now, once you've done that, you have your left and right is set on your pins. So now they're all set just fine. Now, you're going through and shooting this 1-inch wide line. Now, when you look at a normal 5-spot or a single spot target for indoor, that X ring is only 1-inch diameter. So now you've been shooting along this horizontal line, hitting that line, and the vertical line hitting that line. So if you're hitting that horizontal line and that vertical line, there's no reason why you can't shoot the X every time. So that's just one of the other practices that you can do. And once you can hit this 1-inch wide line, you get a 1-inch circle you're shooting at. There's no reason why you can't hit it. So that's something that is a good approach. It's kind of a mental game that you can help develop yourself, that, hey, I can hit this line any place on that line. I don't care where it's at. It's there. And now shooting the horizontal line, vertical lines, it doesn't matter which one. You're hitting that 1-inch wide line. And now you put that target up there, that X ring is a 1-inch diameter. So it's the same thing you've been hitting. If you can hit that 1-inch wide line, why can't you hit a 1-inch diameter circle? It's the same thing. So that's something to look at. Leave some comments. Have you tried that? And if you haven't, try it and let me know how it works, what you discovered by shooting at that 1-inch line instead of shooting at a normal traditional target. The one thing, they're pretty cheap if you just use a magic marker or a piece of electrical tape. And if you want to get a little bit further, instead of going a 1-inch line, like electrical tape, just use one of those. That's going to give you a little smaller circle. Now you've got, instead of a 1-inch, you're shooting at a 1/2-inch wide line. And now shooting at that 1/2-inch wide line, now you're going to go in there and now you're shooting 1/2-inch diameter targets. So then let's go, one step further. Instead of doing a 1/2-inch, let's do a 1/4-inch wide line. So now shooting that 1/4-inch wide line, as you're focusing on that line, not allowing you to shoot off that line, your bow is going to float up and down on a vertical line. Let it float. It doesn't matter, because any place on that line is a good spot. Then you're going to shoot it to horizontal line. You're going to allow that bow to float back and forth on that horizontal line. Now you're shooting at 1/4-inch targets. So now then, at that point, you're able to pick on the X ring. You're going to find that center dot in the middle of that X ring, because there's always a little mark in there. You're going to shoot at that little bitty spot there. So at that point, you're going to be able to pick which spot of the X ring you're putting your arrows in. So that's something you want to look at there as well. So if you want to get some more information on this, you can join the Facebook Archery Talk 101 Facebook group. There we have a lot of other information, and we're there with a group of like-minded individuals that are sharing their knowledge and expertise and asking questions where there's no question that is a bad question. Just remember, the only bad question is one you haven't asked yet, because we're going to answer any questions you happen to have on there. You can also go out to archertalk101.com, and there we have other resources there as well as any products that I might happen to recommend or review. There'll be links on there. And then if you're interested in getting some coaching, I have a coaching program, and I'm offering to my listeners here a free 15-minute consultation call. I'll leave a link in there to fill out a little survey, so I get to know you a little bit better, and we'll book a call. We'll get on there and we'll talk about how I can help you improve your archery skills or anything else you'd like to do. We can work on if you need have problems setting up your bow, those resources, the group as well as a private call can work. So once again, get yourself a free 15-minute consultation call. And once again, my name is Roy Canterbury. I'm a host here on Archer Talk 101.